Thanks a lot for coming in.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Something about this community appeals to you?
This is a wonderful place to live.
For Kelowna Now, this is Kent Mulgat. And we're joined by Jordan Korol. Jordan, thanks for coming on our little program.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you spoke at a recent breakfast event, and the new coach of the UBCO Heat was there and listened to you, and he said you were pretty inspiring.
Well, that's a very nice compliment from him, yeah.
And you know, a couple of things. You know, I think that what you've demonstrated in sports, and the reason you would be asked to speak at something like that is because you're pretty well-rounded. You bring more to it than just the fact that you're obviously great at basketball, right? So you won this Sylvia Sweeney Award for Canada West.
Yes.
What's that all about?
So this is actually the first time any Heat athlete has won a major conference award. And I was awarded it because I showcased excellence in athletics, academics, and community service.
And you were an Academic All-Canadian, meaning what?
An Academic All-Canadian maintains above an 80% average while employed, full-time school and on a youth sports team as well.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what kind of player you are on the court.
I'm definitely a hard worker. I like to run fast and I like to push people around, and I always have my teammates' backs. I've been known to kind of get in a tussle or two here and there.
Well, hey, you sound like this whole thing sounded like you're a really nice person, but you like pushing people around?
Yeah, I'm very nice off the court, yes, but I get certainly in like a game mode when I'm on the court.
Which might be one of the reasons you tend to lead in rebounding.
Yes, exactly, because rebounding, you have to put the effort in. It's not something that comes naturally. You have to read where the ball's going. You have to outwork your opponent, and it's not very glorious, but it's something I enjoy doing.
Right. Well, if you get 8 rebounds in a game, right? That's the thanks that you need, right?
Exactly, because if you control the ball, you control the game, and that's the little contribution I can make during the game.
Right. And you've rebounded in life too, so to speak, haven't you? Because even as a little girl, I mean, you had leukemia, which could have been a death sentence for a little girl who didn't know much about life yet. So do you have much recollection of that part of your life?
A little recollection. I mostly remember the good things, like how kind the nurses and doctors were, or my mom being by my side. And we stayed in Ronald McDonald House for a few years, and I just remember how fun that was. But I don't really remember too much of the actual treatment. And that's where I really appreciate my parents, because they were the ones who had to go through that and make all the tough decisions for me. So looking back on that now, I really have a new appreciation for my parents in that sense.
Right. But do you think having that in your background is part of what's sort of shaped you as a person who appreciates life and is motivated to make the best of it?
Yes. I went back to the Ronald McDonald House a couple years ago, and I saw these children who would have been the same age that I was going through this, and I realized that these children needed, it's very nice to see something like an example to look forward to for the future, and I wanted to be that example.
So you got to meet with some of these kids?
Yeah, I invited them to the game because at that time we were playing UBC Vancouver. So I wanted some of the families to come out and see what a healthy cancer survivor can do with their life after beating cancer, and I wanted to be that kind of beacon of hope.
Right. Well, that's so fantastic. And you do volunteer your time apart from things like that. What else do you do with your volunteer time?
I do volunteer work with the BC Cancer Society. I worked on their Slopes for Hopes campaign in Vernon. And I also, through my boyfriend Brett, he kind of got me started in this, the Canadian Blood Services. I just recently went and spoke at their Hockey Gives Blood event in February, and that was, it was fun, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of young people, start to sort of identify whether or not, am I an academic student or am I more, an athlete? But to play for like UBCO, you actually need to be both.
Exactly. UBCO is not just a sporting school, it really prides itself on its academics, and like through awards such as the Academic All-Canadian Award, it really encourages its students to pursue excellence in academics first.
Right. But that must be tough to do as you were going through those high school years, as the burden of each course starts to get bigger. At the same time, the expectations as an athlete are growing. How did you manage that?
You have to learn time management. That's very important. But it's also important to have a good supporting group of friends and family members around you. And your team is always going to be there for you. If you say you need a little help here, like there's 10 people that are going to reach out and give you that support.
Right.
Yeah.
But I suppose there's times when it does seem like too much.
Yes, it does seem too much, but then in those moments you just have to reflect on the big picture and see how worth it is to just keep pushing and keep giving effort into it.
Another thing that you were mentioning before the interview that you had to go through is right at that time when you're emerging out of high school and you're getting your first shot at playing, university basketball, you get hit with mono, and you got hit bad.
Yes, I somehow got mono before my grade 12 provincials. So that's the time where I wanted to showcase to my coach who had recruited me all the hard work I had put in during my time at high school at VSS. And then right at that moment, I realized I can't play. And that was a devastating blow because it felt like all the hard work I had put in was for nothing. But I remembered that my health comes first, and I was there to cheer on my teammates at that provincials, and I was just going to work hard as soon as I was healthy.
Right, so it was a tough year at UBCO this past year. Your team didn't get a win.
We got a win this year. The previous season we did not. And that win is just the highlight of my career.
Okay.
Yes.
That win is standing out against all those losses.
Yes, that win just shows how important dedication to never giving up is. And at any moment this past 2 seasons, my coaches or my teammates could have just said, you know what, guys, this isn't worth it. We're not getting results, so we're just going to pack it in. But no one did that. And that was an inspiration for me to just, keep working hard, keep making sure I was putting 100% of my effort into the team and the program, and then it finally paid off.
With a win.
With a win, yes.
Felt like a championship.
Oh, absolutely. That was quite the celebration that night.
Yeah. So, do you have anything encouraging to say if someone wants to go out and maybe cheer you guys on next year? There wasn't a big draw to go out and see a team like you guys are stringing together so many losses you almost didn't want to watch. But will it be better, do you think, this coming season? Oh,
it's going to be a completely different team. Coach Bobby Mitchell, he has recruited an outstanding group of girls, both locally and from, I think, Vancouver and Calgary as well. So I'm very excited to play with all these girls. I see how fast they are and how hardworking they are, and I just can tell that this year is going to be very fun, and we're certainly going to be able to compete with these other teams coming in.
And it sounds like tough defense and a running game is the plan?
Yes, we like to play fastball. We're a smaller sized team, and even though I'm 5'11", I'm an undersized post. So I think the emphasis next year will be speed and quickness and trying to beat teams off of our stamina rather than talent per se.
Well, we'll come out and check it out. Thanks very much for coming in and talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Jordan Korol, and thank you for watching Kelowna Now.